do have some great visual effects in this film. You look at the images and it's just magic, man. It's magic.
I became involved in the film in the first day of post-production as overall visual effects supervisor. And we pushed into new territory when it comes to creating believable skin and body movement. Also, digitally created water and oceans to a level that hasn't been seen yet. And I think that's a really exciting thing. We worked with two primary vendors. One was Mr. X. They're now known as MPC in Canada, and they did a lot of the creature effects, like Dracula. And then we also worked with Rise in Germany, who did a lot of Varna, which is the shipping port at the beginning of the film, and also a lot of the stormy seas. There was a beautiful location in Malta that gave us the foundation of Varna, which is meant to be the port that the Demeter set sail from. We had about, I'd say, an eighth of that world or that environment created practically that the actors could physically interact with and move around inside. But most of the world beyond that was created digitally. Everything from not just extensions of the buildings themselves, but also the water, the port, the other boats, birds flying in the air, the sky, everything around was created digitally, including hundreds of digital extras. The ship was a beautiful set, and what we were charged with was creating an extension to that world. We had to add sails and rigging and replace the backgrounds. We ended up replacing pretty much 90% to 95% of the water and rain and, top side of the boat. Most of the shots where the ship is out in open water are 100% digitally created. There's even little digital people walking around on the deck. Fog was a real creative challenge in this movie.
I can't see a bloody thing.
Andre always wanted the fog to feel like it may have been summoned by Dracula himself. So we went through, I think, probably over 100 variations of what that fog could look like until we arrived at something that felt naturalistic, but also slightly spooky. It was really exciting to come on board a Dracula project because it's Dracula. I mean, this is a character that's been around for a long time. We've seen, dozens of versions of him, and some that are so incredibly iconic that they're just there in the public conscience. Coming into this, it was really an interesting challenge to work on a new version of Dracula, something that's a little bit less of a man and a bit more of a creature that's behaving like a hungry beast that needs to feed. We took the original concept art of Dracula as a jumping off point, but we tried to plus it out a little bit by introducing things like a backward bat-like leg that compresses and moves in a slightly more animalistic way. And that started to make Dracula increasingly scary. And that's animated on top of the real movements of Javier, the actor that was shot on set. Javier did a great job in giving us that mode of locomotion and that feeling of personality and purpose for Dracula. Javier's makeup looked amazing on set, and it became the best possible reference for us in terms of light and texture and skin quality. So that allowed us to create a digital version that looks as real as it does. In the story, Dracula is a shapeshifter. He starts out as this sort of old man type character that looks very vulnerable and kind of weakened. But as he feeds, he starts to grow and become more powerful. And there's a version of him that has just a little bit more muscle tone and is a little bit stronger. And then ultimately, he takes his full and most powerful shape, which is a bat, where he literally has wings and can fly.
Dear God, it has wings.
You have to kind of walk this line and ask yourself, if this was real, what would it look like? If there was a man with bat wings that could fly, how would his wings fold? And we would do things like Look at umbrellas and how they fold. Look at the wings of bats and how they fold, and figure out a sort of plausibility to things. Teeth was a creative journey as well, kind of figuring out exactly what his teeth might look like. This guy is hundreds of years old, so these teeth have been around for a while and they've seen a lot of things. So there was some practical prosthetics done that were sort of bent and snaggletooth, teeth pointing in different directions, some of them sharp, some of them dull. And we kind of went with that and pushed it as far as it could possibly go, where they A, look scary, but B, look really surprising. And Dracula's eyes can either appear like a normal eye or it can glow. And this is something that we created for the computer-generated versions of Dracula. So when lightning strikes, you might see that little glint in his eye that's a bit more animalistic than it is human.
Action.
The dead animals, those were prosthetic effects. We enhanced those to make them more gory. And in some cases, they were so wounded and so gross that you couldn't actually tell what they were. So we had to work on the dog, for instance.
Oh, God. Huck.
To actually make it look like Huckleberry the dog, because, Dracula had done such a number on him that he was unrecognizable.
You want to be here or here and be lifted back up out of frame.
Blood and gore is a big part of this. So we added a lot of digital blood and viscera.
It burns.
And we didn't really employ any practical fire on the film. It's all digital. There are 3 characters that burn. And, I think Andre wanted to leave room to art direct the fire and figure out what it could be. And that's something that was really fun, although gross, to design and develop. The shot I was most concerned about when I joined the film was the shot with Toby sinking. He was shot on a stage, no water, he wasn't even wet, and there was just a very simple camera movement. So we had to recreate the underwater look all around him and make him look charred and burned, and it was a very, very challenging shot that we worked on up until the last days of the production. But I'm really thrilled with the results. It's safe to say that Demeter has really pushed the boundaries, not just in terms of what we ever expected Dracula to be, but in terms of visual language and the ability to create believable moving pictures like this.
$2.31, Papa, take one.
You've never seen Dracula look like he does in this film. He looks like something out of your worst nightmare, something that's crawled out of the pits of hell, something that is the conjuring of an evil mind.
A lot of Dracula movies are trying to usually tell the whole story of Dracula from the book in some variation. And this is one of few movies that are really focused on just one section. So that gave us an opportunity to go into a very specific version of what he is, like a devil or a demon or something awful. And I found that aspect to be really interesting and a point of view on Dracula that we haven't really seen before.
When you tackle the genre and you try to do something different with it, that's when it becomes really interesting.
Toby! Open the door!
And that's what we're having a go at here.
Dracula takes on many forms in Demeter. Joran Lundstrom, our creature designer, just did an incredible job with Andre as well, just designing these forms. He's pretty damn terrifying.
I remember the first time Brad Fisher, our producer, showed me the picture of Dracula. It gives you, it actually gives you chills.
We see lots of different iterations of him, which is really, really cool. We see him as a kind of a vulnerable monster initially, and we see him regain his strength by committing these acts of horrible violence.
He's a character who's like an addict. He needs his blood, and the need to regenerate himself in a way is a huge aspect to the movie. When it comes to the visualization of him, I wanted him to feel like an older man. I wanted him to feel like he is fragile, and in that way, make him, in a way, also desperate and dangerous. Javier Botet is an amazing creature performer, absolutely amazing, one of the best in the world.
Then, right into him, to camera.
And he really gives so much life to the character on set.
Javier as Dracula is spectacular. His transformation, both in terms of body and soul, is really unusual and unique.
Hello, everybody. I am Javier Botet. I'm usually working as a monster performance, but I'm an actor. I've been here in the movie working with an amazing team and enjoying and suffering very much.
This movie covers so many aspects of what a makeup artist does. Makeup effects artist is maybe a better term. So there's a lot of prosthetics. We're doing masks, we're doing fake dentures, we're also doing creature suits in foam latex, gloves, legs. And every time I've seen Javier on set in the right light, in the right atmosphere, I'm always surprised how scary he looks.
We are using my body to express all the weakness in the beginning, but then Dracula is becoming stronger.
We had fantastic special effects crew on set that were really creating this blood and working with it and making it splash around. Because the wounds that Dracula gives is tearing them more apart.
Wow. Hello, brother.
Dracula is not just punctuating the skin and drinking the blood. It's more a desperation in his presence, in the way he attacks both animals and humans. I wanted our Dracula to feel different than the rest of the Draculas I've seen. I wanted him to be more animalistic in the design of the teeth, not just two fangs, but crooked and kind of nasty-looking teeth. It should be terrifying. It should be a mouth that should scare you, but still able to hide them, so in society, he would just look like an older guy with bad teeth.
It is scarier.
Yeah.
He
I think it's great.
Ugly teeth,
Our Dracula has so many different looks in this movie. I don't know which one's more terrifying. And Javier is so good at doing creepy. He's very good in his physicality.
I have a lot of flexibility, so it allows me to make a lot of weird movement. We found something between human and unnatural, something more elegant.
It's very important to have an actor of his quality to perform these character scenes, because the other actors can then relate to it and it becomes interaction. And even for VFX, it's so helpful to have a real person do it instead of some green screen tennis ball solution.
It's one of the best parts of being able to shoot everything practical. I know it's Javier in there, but he's just so good at creating Dracula. The way he moves, the way he turns his neck, the way he takes his finger and zzz, it was so frightening.
Do you?
We need this balance between something otherworldly, but something grounded still in Dracula's voice.
Please, no. Please, no.
I also wanted an aspect of animalistic sounds, like high-pitched screaming. So we had to blend between those voices in a way to try to find those tones.
I kind of avoided seeing Dracula. I wanted to keep it for when it was my turn.
Oh, my Lord.
And I really, genuinely, I really got a fright. That's fucking scary. And I got a fright not just in one take, but over and over.
Pleasure to kill you.
I never felt safe exploring a Dracula movie, that's for sure. I felt like I was stepping into big, big shoes. We're going to be measured up against some amazing classic movies, from Nosferatu to Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Coppola movie, and many others. And we're trying to be one serious, intense horror movie.